provide their advice and their experiences with other students, and that's something that is new and another initiative that was put forth by some of the administrators in our district. I think that they do a very good job, and I don't know that they get their respect sometimes. I do know offhand that we have produced, or there's 4 Oregon County superintendents that have roots from here, and one that I graduated with that is in Central. So we've produced a lot, and a bunch of vice principals. I know that there are 3 currently, and then countless numbers of supervisors that have moved up through this district. And we do have very ambitious ones as well, to which they've also created some initiatives for our new citizens of the town. We have like a store for these folks that can come in and, you know, if they're a little underprivileged, they don't have anything. And I know myself, I donated a ton of clothing to them, and I hope it comes to good use. So I hope that we can move forward, and at least on this side, I think a lot of the stuff that we do is planned by us and executed. I would hope that the board will come with some solutions to problems, because I know that at least we do a lot of the problem solving in the district, and I hope that we can share that burden with everybody, and that we can move forward so that we're not wasting time talking about personal things or other things. And to the point of safety, as a student and as a staff member, I've never felt unsafe in this building. It is an old building, and I always tell any vendor that comes in with me that it's a cool little building because there are gas lamps out there, and everybody loves that. So it is an old building, it's gonna fall apart, yes. Do we need to fix it? I agree. But I've never felt unsafe as an employee, as a student. And I just want to reiterate that, you know, I am proud that we are moving forward as a district, and we do accomplish some great things. And more importantly, the relationships I think you'll see through the staff members, through the students, are probably the most important things that we do. And at least for me, I'm always trying to create experiences and memories for these students, so I think that's what all of our staff is trying to do. I hope that we can kind of get past all this stuff. So thank you for your time.
What is your name, sir? What is your name, and what do you teach?
I'm sorry?
What is your name and what do you teach?
My name is Jason Howe.
Okay, so what do you teach, sir?
I don't really have that much time to maybe everything I do.
No, I'm just curious. 'Cause I know-
He's responsible for technology throughout the district.
Okay, great. Okay, so you feel like the people who are voting no on it had some kind of indirect or direct responsibility for the central office, or for the administration, or for the board?
No, I feel as though that was put forth to, you know, I guess provide conflict for, you know, for the school district to deal with. I mean, the school budget's never gone down in recent years. And it's very, like I said, it's just disappointing to see that the town is asked to vote no for it. You know, had my parents been home yesterday, they were coming back from a trip, I'm sure they would have voted yes, but they didn't have the opportunity. So I don't feel as it's a reflection of, well, I think it does, as an educational staff, yes, I think it's gonna affect us plenty. I know.
Well, hopefully not, as the mayor.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I think I made that perfectly clear, but just to reiterate, whatever that word is, just to talk a little bit more about what you said. I've been in this town my whole life. Born and raised, went to the schools, graduated the school system, had a son here who I believed enough in this town to become a teacher, to teach here. So, 2 times in history that I known, that I could remember, that the school budget was ever voted down. Once just now, and once back in 88 or 89 when I was on the council. But I could tell you, over the years, we've had issues with the school where there was no paper. That was a school budget that passed. We have issues where you built the field at Lindbergh that could be used for what? Nothing. The field at, not Lindbergh, excuse me, high school. The high school. I mean, that was money that the district went out, got grant money for, bonded, and paid for. That was wasted. So, when I came to the past several meetings and sat here and heard that several of the board members up here never had a chance to even see the budget, All we said was give it an open eye. Let everybody look at it now. Never once said there was waste in there. Never once said that the teachers don't deserve it. Because I'm going to tell you, when this guy left after 8 years, and I looked at his salary and making $50-something thousand, I thank God you people are here for that kind of price. Because I don't know how anybody could work in Bergen County and live in Bergen County for a $50-something thousand job. If I was me personally, I would make sure that every dollar went back into the teachers and the needs for the students that has to, you know, to be able to give you a fair and decent living. The teachers' aides. I had a sister who was a teacher's aide. A teacher's aide who, the day the snow dripped, 5 inches of snow, nobody worked. She didn't get paid. There were times Christmas time, she couldn't pay her rent. So don't think that just because that budget was voted down, that we're going to take it out on anybody here in this room, because that's not our case. But when I work and go to that Lindbergh school and I see a fence up, and I see, you know, a facade that really needed to be looked at, and I hope we build classrooms there, but if you're talking a classroom that's $1 million plus, easily, right? Do you think $50,000 to fix that facade 2 years ago would have mattered if you spent $1 million on building new classrooms?
Again, I can't go back to 2 years, I did not
We
say
built a
no.
garage on 3rd Street. What a waste of
I
money
did
that
not-
was.
I did not say no, not to
That
fix
was not you.
Thank
That was not you.
Thank you.
That was a waste of money.
Well,
That was a
regardless.
project, again, that I fought against and said, what are we doing? And it sits there, and everybody in this room knows it's a big nothing.
Can, tomorrow, again, I think the idea is to take advantage of the grant that's
I,
sitting on
Joe,
my desk.
1,000,
Joe,
you and I
I
had
agree
these
with
conversations.
you, but I do feel concerned. Sir, do you have any type of education or degree in any construction? Because I know you said you
No, I
tell
don't.
people that you feel safe. I gotta tell you something,
I-
safety is not about a feeling. I've worked for 22 years in this industry. I've seen some really tragic things, including a building that had a collapse in a garage in Hackensack, that by miracle, many people weren't killed, right here in New Jersey, not New York. So when you talk about safety and you're gonna go to that subject, I'm sorry, I feel that you should really think harder when you're gonna speak to that particular subject. Because I'm glad you feel safe, but it's really a shame if you're having a sense of false safety. Because that building is in fact, and I'm willing my 22 years in this business to put my career on that line, that is not safe. Besides the fact that the health issues with that infiltration, you don't even have any clue. They did no destructive testing in these investigations. So you don't know what mold factor is there. You don't know what's in the walls of those buildings, what has penetrated or gone to other areas of the building. So for that particular subject, that isn't about administration at all. And Joe knows that. I had a conversation with him. He knows what I feel about this. This is about worrying about the kids as well as your safety. I don't know you, but I surely don't want to see tomorrow you be in a room that the roof comes down on your head
Cindy-
because you felt it was safe.
Cindy, I think we're all aware of the facts. I think without making assumptions, there's been much to do about my neglect of the schools, but my running towards receiving merit. Let's call it the way it is. We are addressing the buildings. And if that, again, was not one of my merit goals, for no other reason than, hey, this is on the table. We have to fix it. We're not gonna change anything from 3 years ago.
Joe, if we're gonna tell it like it is, that wasn't the reason that it wasn't one of your merit goals. It was because somebody else behind the scene was basically running the show. So we're really gonna talk about it
but we're
for
not there.
real?
But-
So, please, let's not even go there. I put no blame on you, because I sit in a seat where I often blame myself for many things that went on
Cindy.
here, because I all sat in the same position as you all do. So let's not start
Cindy.
putting reality on the
Cindy,
table.
All I said
Let's
was,
just deal with it,
Cindy,
okay?
publicly, what I said was, there's blame being put on me for neglecting the buildings.
Not at all.
Okay,
Did I ever say that to you in our conversation?
never you. I
Okay.
respect you for that.
This is my thing. This
No
building
problem.
thing is
And-
something I
and
think about on a daily
Cindy,
basis.
On
I
our
do
week, on
not
our
blame
week
you.
off, it was my thing too, and we're addressing it. And I'm telling you, like I did 2 weeks ago, I hope I have this approval of the mayor and council to move forward, because again, this is money given to us by the state, and if we don't act on it, we lose it.
Absolutely. In total agreement.
Where are you with those designs? Got any idea yet, or?
Designs of the
Adding classrooms?
again, classrooms is secondary at this point, because the facade is, take advantage of the grant. Right now, we will be okay in September 2016 because of the movement of children not to the best interest of the parents. Look at that face. But the reality becomes September 2017, if we don't have additional classrooms, as I have said publicly, we have no space to put our children. We need classrooms. That's a year away, but planning takes time. Building takes time. Funding, more importantly. We have to really think about long-term. We're also fixing our long-range facility plan that's been last updated in '05. These are things that have to be addressed. We're addressing them.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Oh, I have one more.
Oh.
Nobody else wants to speak. Okay. Couple things. Basically goes, and I say this with as much tact and respect as I can to everybody on the board, but I can't help when maybe I'm a stupid candidate, and now maybe a stupid electee. But I was wondering, 2 meetings ago, we had notice about, we had a rights notice, and a couple of board members asked about disciplinary action for somebody that's sitting at the table. And there was no update about that. And I was wondering if there was any disciplinary action taken against the person.
I'm not sure if I know.
No, really, Anthony, and when you come on reorganization, we'll sit down like I do with new board members and
Okay.
explain things. Can't talk about personnel publicly,
Okay.
okay?
That's
The
fine.
2 board members now in a situation where, again, can't
But if I
discuss
remember,
debate.
that was open, that was not.
That was doing, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But there are issues because, and this is something Cindy said too, where somebody asked before about, well, the board's gotta do this. You gotta understand, and the public doesn't always understand this, the board cannot micromanage. They have an ethical obligation that they sign every year. If they micromanage, superintendent's the only one who can hire anybody except the attorney and the auditor. That's it. Everybody else has to be superintendent. Anything else with curriculum, everything's gotta be recommended by the superintendent. Discipline cannot be recommended by board members. Has to only be recommended by the superintendent. So that's one of the reasons we also now in a situation where there is a litigation.
Mhm.
So I can't discuss anything publicly with regard to
That's
this.
all.
Let's just clarify for me, because now I'm a little confused.
Okay?
So what you're saying is, what Joe just said to me is the opposite, so what I was particularly talking about was the superintendent's responsibility and not the board's, the building?
No, I'm sorry. I thought somebody
Oh,
said
okay.
before, the board's gotta, push forward on this and this and this, and all I'm saying is.
I did say that about the building.
Right,
not
but the
anything else,
board
but-
can suggest things, they can't dictate. I have an expression I use, I'm an attorney, I advise, I don't dictate. All I can do is give advice, you guys
I
can do what you
understand
want
that.
to
They
do.
give their
The board cannot,
recommendations.
because Cindy, it's considered micromanaging, there are ethics opinions all over the place. If a board does too much, and let's assume you had a board that didn't have a good relationship with the superintendent, and I represent a couple that some of us are very familiar with. That superintendent can immediately file an ethics complaint the next day against the board members and be successful. So the board's gotta be very careful in what they can and can't do, and they know that, which is why you'll see once in a while, I'll stop them from saying things.
I
Because
understand.
I gotta protect them, but understand
I
their
know what
role.
you're saying.
And
I
a lot of
think
people
the
get very
micromanagement-
frustrated by this, and the boards get frustrated because they do get blamed for a lot of stuff that they have no control over. You know what I'm saying?
I understand that, but I just, to my mind, even though we don't go backwards, and God didn't put eyes in the back of our head to constantly look backwards.
Mhm.
But what I'm trying to figure in my head and understand, because when you have these contentious elections that are about a lot of stuff that's really unimportant, I wanna understand was the board over 3 years recommending for the building to be fixed and the superintendent didn't do it?
No.
Or the board just didn't pay attention to a letter that is very clearly stated in bold print that there's a health and a safety risk and an emergent situation.
But you can also take an assumption that the board might not have been completely aware of everything, maybe they were, maybe they're not. And I'm not saying they were, we're not in
Okay.
this situation,
But
I'm
that's
not
good to
involved in
know.
that. But
That's good to
again,
know.
if they were and there were issues and they ignored it, and the superintendent ignored it, there's gonna be some problems. And I know you said
Oh,
about.
absolutely, that's why I
There
went to the
will be
legal
problems.
piece if anything happens.
And I'm not
everybody
even
hears
worried
that
about the
problem.
money, you're worrying about the safety.
Right.
Exactly what you're saying. All we really care about is the kids and the teachers in this district, and the parents and the aides.
I get that.
We're not worried about the money. The money, money is money, and eventually you're gonna get something out of it. I think, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I don't live in the town either, but I've been in this town for a long time. You have a board, and I know everything that's been going on the last couple of months. I'm a firm believer, we're moving ahead, and everybody's gonna be on the same page. I don't think anybody up here has agendas. I don't think anybody out there has agendas. I think we gotta go ahead and become the wonderful town we've always been. You've always been, and you give credit to everybody for that, including the 9 of them sitting here, including the seven of you that sit over there. 6, I'm sorry. We gotta get back to that point, you know, and I think that's important, and I think this budget, you know, and again, I understand, we go to the mayor and council first with the budget. If the board doesn't agree with it, if the superintendent doesn't agree with it, we do have the right to go to the county. I don't think we're gonna go that far. I think we're gonna end up working this together, because everybody is seeing, we wanna take care of everybody, you know, we have negotiations with everybody. We can't afford to run a district that you don't have money. And everybody knows that, including you guys. So, just gotta understand the role of the board, that's all I'm trying to say, and I don't think anybody doesn't believe what you're saying, and I know Joe believes it. It's gotta be taken care of, and things will get taken care of eventually. We always settle, you know what, we have contentious with the teachers at times, we had a really bad one the last time. You know what, but we still respect them, it doesn't mean we don't respect them. And I think we just move forward, and I think, you know, I'm optimistic, I've always been optimistic.
Rich,
Maybe naive is a better word for it, but I'm optimistic.
what is the procedure at this moment? Does it go to the mayor and council?
Goes to mayor and council.
And then
First
what
thing,
happens?
we have, the district has 10 days to get them all the information, I believe Joe's,
One day, tomorrow.
it's gonna be there tomorrow, but I think by law you have 10 to get it all together and give it to them if you had to.
And-
And then we'll schedule meetings with the mayor and council and discuss it. Mayor and council can come around and they can go through it, but again, nobody can tell you where exactly to go. They can go through and say, okay, I think you should cut this line, this line, and this line. Doesn't mean you have to do that, but they'll come up with the sum of number, if in fact that's their desire,
So mayor and council only?
at this point.
Okay.
It's negotiations with the mayor and council, is basically what it is.
So the BA or the superintendent won't be involved?
At the meeting.
No, I think what,
They get it.
I'm
It's
sorry,
just
it's, it's not
Procedure, like
everybody,
everybody else.
no, I don't think, I don't,
No, it's a
because then
committee. It's a
it's
committee.
committees, because otherwise you'd all have to do the notices and, you know, open to the public, you wanna have negotiations.
the entire mayor and council could sit and hear it, but then we would have to notify the
Correct.
public of a meeting, or we could set up a committee. Normally, like I said, it happened twice, both times I was on the council once, and mayor at the time. You have 2 days to submit it to us.
Mhm.
Within those 10 days, we have to be able to schedule some sort of meeting, to sit and go over, you know, together with a committee, or how many board members you want there. Most likely, we will have the entire mayor and council, I can't guarantee that, but if we don't, then we won't have to advertise it, if we do, we'll advertise it. But we will set up that meeting, we have until May 20th to determine what's
Correct.
going on, what our recommendations are, and we have plenty of time to work back and forth during that timeframe.
Yeah, it's not a one-time meeting, correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, it's a
It's an
very.
ongoing negotiation.
So if it doesn't, if there is no accord, what happens after that?
Well, if there's no accord, and the mayor and council come up with an action, and they say something, and the superintendent comes to the board and says, this is what's going on, and I'm just giving scenarios. I can't run the district and give an education that I have to constitutionally give to these children on that much being cut. The next step, if there's no agreement with the mayor and council, is to the state, to
Because
the
it's
county,
important, right?
to the county executive superintendent.
Thank you.
And they review it, they could either restore the cuts.
And they're gonna do
remove the
whatever,
cuts, and go.
that's pretty much the.
And I think the only reason why, the question came up, and I can't answer why yet, but, I do remember when we had that meeting, it was open to the public, it wasn't a closed session.
No, yeah.
And I think at the end of that was said that, when you reviewed everything, you would let us know what your findings were, but I
But
understand it's a
subsequently,
legal
we're
issue now.
now, the
That's
board's
right.
constrained from discussing
Understand.
anything
Totally
public.
understand.
I did, so you know, I did speak to Mr. Kim about it after the fact, and I did make
That's
him
fine, you
aware.
don't, I mean, if it's a legal case, we can't. speak
Now
about
it is. Now it is.
The other thing that I wanted to ask, and this has to do with just anybody that receives a stipend of any kind in the district. If there are chronic absences, you know, someone's supposed to be at certain things a certain amount of times, and they miss a certain amount of dates, is it a loss of the stipend, is a portion of the stipend taken away, or is there no policy whatsoever about a stipend that's being paid regardless of absences?
Listen,
that they
Anthony, I
have?
think it's a great question. I think for those of you that do know me, you think it's my own account, and believe me, I don't have close to that amount of money, believe me. But that lady sitting right there, as a president of the PPEA, Kathy Doheny, and I go at it enough.
Okay.
Because, guess what? I do act like I live here, and she will attest to it. People that take long-term leaves are prorated. We had an employee retire unbeknownst to us in January of last year. Her stipend was paid twice a year, in February and in June.
Oh, that's not what I mean leaving. I left and I know I only got a portion of the stipend. I'm talking about somebody that would remain in the building.
But took
know
a
they're not
maternity
leaving.
leave?
But, no, not even maternity leave. They have a stipend, they're supposed to do a certain job, but they just don't show up for it. Things happen, they're supposed to be there,
Kathy,
they're not there. They
I
do it
can't
repeatedly,
specifically speak about
over
any
and over and
teacher
over again.
because he or she was not rice noticed. Can you just try to help Anthony out with understanding
I
this?
just wanna know if there's a policy in somebody
If a
that,
teacher receives a stipend.
if a
and
teacher
they are
receives a
not-
stipend and
like,
isn't
say-
doing it.
Exactly, then it's prorated.
Okay, okay. Up until, I mean, you just.
I will tell you-
For the
Some
time,
months and the
well,
amount of
they
time
figure it
it
out,
takes.
the amount of
We
time.
take the
that they get
salary
out.
over to X
Like
amount
say
of
if you go
days,
with 10
and we
months,
have to take it per
then
diem.
you're out 2 months, then you get 8/10.
Okay, and
However it
you
works.
keep attendance for obviously everyone that has a stipend, right, to make sure that they're following through. with
As
what
far
they're
as
supposed to do.
coaches, again, I think, Anthony is a
Yeah.
former coach, if we
Well, I mean, I'm not
choose.
just limiting to coaches, I'm talking about.
I will tell you again,
There's a lot of
it's
people
a
that
practice
receive
that
the
it's a
stipend.
practice that I've
There's a lot of people that
instituted.
receive the stipend for things that they're
It's a
supposed to be
practice
doing.
I've instituted, it's a practice that I think I've made an enemy over, but guess what? They need to be held accountable.
Yeah.
If they're not showing up, they're not getting paid.
Exactly. 'cause
That's
there's-
what you wanna hear,
There are
believe
people
me.
that aren't showing up.
Believe
They
me,
should
we
be
have new
doing it,
procedures
and
in place
I
at the
wanna
high
make
school
sure that
because of
Their
that.
stipend is cut for that.
There's a new procedure in place at the high school, and I think you're aware of what we instituted this year. Advisors are signing off.
But is it
Coaches are being
district-wide?
evaluated.
Are we
It's
doing it with
district-wide.
Even,
It's
everybody's
district-wide.
receiving a stipend.
She's an employee of Lindbergh, not the high school. It's district-wide.
Okay.
So is there an actual policy though? No, right?
There is
So
no
let's say
written
you have
policy.
10 meetings in a year.
Yes, ma'am.
And you miss 3. Is there a policy, you know how like we have on the boards? If you miss 3 meetings, then there's a lot of times you have to get off the boards. But there's no type of policy like that.
Black-
Cindy, if I could just address that one, with the school board member, if a school board member misses 3 consecutive regular meetings.
Well, he's not talking about school
No,
board,
no,
he's
no,
talking
you
about
just said about-
stipend employees.
No, I understand that, and what I'm saying is, they can then be asked to be removed from the board, and the board can
Right.
remove somebody automatically. We do have policies for absenteeism, absolutely. I'm not sure whether they address
They're being
stipends
addressed.
exactly,
There's-
but Joe's
again-
saying that they do address those issues.
They are being addressed, whether the policy has to be edited.
Right,
To
so you're
address that?
negotiating them usually on a basis.
Correct, that's
on
gonna be
a basis.
negotiated with the
I get it.
PPEA.
I get it.
Correct.
When we have the reorg, that would be something that I'd like to discuss, and maybe we could
Sure.
have a written policy on it.
Again, that's negotiations, so it's gonna be something that the collective bargaining
We
unit
may
would
have it
have
already.
to.
You just want to put-
That's not in the contract.
Oh.
I'm gonna tell you, it's not there, even though, listen, if someone's not doing their duties, they don't deserve a payment.
Oh, yes.
Let's call it the way it
That's
is.
what I'm-
And they've been docked, if that's what you wanna hear. Believe me.
I'm not gonna, I won't call anybody out for what I think.
Listen,
is
I know who they
happening.
are,
I'm
she
just
knows who
making
they
it in
are.
general.
People are being held accountable. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I just, on behalf of the PTSA, I would just like to say thank you for the board members, Dr. Cirillo, for the successful and very profitable fashion show that we did with our parents. Students were excellent. They were well behaved. It was, I can't even say enough how much they were so well behaved. Thank you.
You set the bar too high. You really did.
Mine was higher.
Good luck.
One last thing, and this is, Jason. Yes. I want you to know that I ran with the no for the budget, and me and you are good friends. And there's no way that I would hurt you, no way that I'd run on anything that would possibly hurt the people that I worked with only 4 months ago, all right? And when I bring this up about the stipends, I'm not talking about teachers, I'm talking about this is where I want to make sure that you guys understand. I'm talking about everybody in the district that's receiving a stipend. Teachers, aides, office staff, everybody, okay? Because there are people that aren't showing up to things that they should be doing, okay? And I'm aware of it.
Are they stipend positions?
They are, it is a stipend position, okay? And that's why I'm not gonna call anybody out, because
Listen,
I'm not gonna embarrass anybody.
we didn't set a
But
date
we
for
can speak
reorg,
about
but
it.
once you're on,
Yeah,
we will
We can
speak
speak
about
about it, because it's not something that I wanna see happen moving further, you know? I ran, and I'm glad that I got enough votes to become on the board, because I'd like to help you guys. You know, it was heartbreaking for me to leave Palisades Park to begin with, but it gave me the opportunity of helping in a different way. Sitting on the board with you guys and helping the district do what it needs to do. Whether it's on buildings and grounds, I know I can't be on negotiations because I'm an educator, although that would be kind of weird for me to be on negotiations. He said, you know,
Well,
yeah,
it's a no,
you know,
anyways.
yeah. So, but I want, curriculum, whatever I can do to help you guys, that's what I'd like to do, all right? But I see things on this side of the table that I'd like to speak with you about once I'm on to fix moving forward.
I think
And
we've
that's why
had
I'm
an
bringing
open
it up.
door, and I will continue to
You know?
have that.
But I don't wanna speak about something that's already there, and that's why I ask the questions now, okay?
You got it.
Thank you. Can we have a motion to close audience participation?
So move.
Yes.
Second. Oh, I thought he seconded. I'm sorry, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Rich, are we taking any formal action after?
I have two, yes.
And we have bullying that we have to
So
address.
there
Okay.
will be action after,
In the event anyone
A
wants to
motion
stick
to go
around.
into close?
yeah, and I'm trying to, yeah.
Motion to go into close, please.
Make a motion to go close.
All in favor?
Aye.
I know action will be taken, I don't know how much Julian has.
We have a couple of cases
I'm
to
gonna tell you,
discuss.
probably, it's gonna be close to 30 minutes. Okay.